Hi, I'm Nina Chow.
Hi, I'm Danny Flores.
And I'm Tyler Sanders, and today we'll be discussing pedestrian safety in Provo. We'd like to start with the question, do you feel safe crossing 800 North, or do you feel good seeing children cross University Avenue alone? Well, it's not just in your head. Provo has a pedestrian safety issue. In the last few years, 6 pedestrians have been killed on Provo's roads, 4 of them being children, with many more injured in the same span. 45-year-old Brian Coulthard was killed in Provo on October 27th of this year at 500 West and Center Street. 15-year-old Caleb Lane was hit and killed on 500 North in front of the Provo Recreation Center on March 16th, 2018. 17-year-old Sienna Schroenrock from Provo was killed in a car crash in nearby Orem on October 17th of this year. 21-year-old UVU student Isabel Parr was killed in a hit and run at 820 North and 800 West in Provo on December 1st of last year. Children Ramiro and Flavia Hidalgo were hit and killed on 700 North on August 29th of last year while walking to school together.
The problem. We identify three main things that make these issues happen. First, low visibility, especially at night, makes it hard for cars to see pedestrians even when they are crossing safely. Second, fast cars. Speed is one of the largest factors in how deadly a crash is. And lastly, long crossing distances increase time that pedestrians remain in conflict with cars as they cross. When these three are combined, streets turn deadly for pedestrians. One or all of these factors contributed to these aforementioned pedestrian fatalities in Provo. What do we do about it? Well, a lot of it comes down to reversing the problematic street design we have laid out, especially by actively prioritizing pedestrians. Everything we discuss relates to mitigating these dangerous street elements by putting pedestrians first. This comes down to two broad categories.
The first of these categories is traffic calming. Traffic calming is the deliberate slowing of traffic in an attempt to increase pedestrian safety by physical measures, such as roadway engineering. Raised crosswalks are just one of the design changes associated with traffic calming. Raised crosswalks are designed to bring the level of the roadway up to that of the sidewalk. By doing so, one, pedestrians are more likely to stay in the designated crossing area, and two, drivers are forced to slow down due to the crosswalk's dual effect as a speed hump. Earlier this year, as seen in this image, these raised crosswalks were introduced on Center Street in Provo. Since then, traffic on this street has slowed considerably. We believe that it would be beneficial to employ these measures in other areas of Provo as well, especially near local schools and frequently walked routes. Nighttime lighting and pedestrian conspicuity is another critical concern. Pedestrians are generally at a higher risk of being involved in a fatal collision with a vehicle in the dark. But by increasing visibility, pedestrians are able to enjoy increased safety. There have been past solutions attempted, such as increasing the number of streetlights or creating retroreflective clothing for pedestrians. However, a study implementing these LED illuminated crosswalks, as seen in the image, has proven to be a more effective solution. The lights embedded in the pavement not only increase the visibility of the pedestrians on the nighttime roads, but they also directly impact the driver's speed.
Lastly, we want to introduce our last physical modification associated with traffic calming. These are the curve extensions, also known as bulb outs, which are an extension of the curve line into the roadway. They are commonly installed along streets with on-street parking and extend to the travel lane. They are typically used to reduce speed along a corridor by narrowing the lanes at corners where pedestrians cross, while still maintaining a proper turning radius for the cars. This causes the cars to be unable to park directly on street corners, increasing pedestrian visibility for cars. Additionally, they decrease crossing distances, allowing pedestrians to spend less time in the road. For instance, as we can see in the right side picture, this is a curve extension located in Provo on 200 East, and this is a great location because it efficiently accomplishes pedestrian safety and vehicle speed control. Given all these considerations, we suggest expansion of more curve extensions in Provo, especially along in common street intersections, as well as in heavily trafficked areas.
The second broad category we'd like to discuss is legislation. The legal environment of a city has been found to have far-reaching impacts on the ultimate reality that pedestrians experience. In this context, legislation is any non-physical aspect of government action that can improve the areas of pedestrian safety. One important consideration is vehicle size and speed. As seen in these figures, over the last 20 years, average vehicle weight and size has increased dramatically. Vehicle weights have increased about 10% on average in the last decade, while the share of SUVs and light trucks among vehicles has increased from 13% to over 21%. And you can't get around physics. These larger vehicles simply have more kinetic energy, which causes them to be more deadly in crashes. As well, vehicle speed contributes to this, which can be controlled by various factors. Provo as a city has limited resources in addressing vehicle size specifically, but does have the power to lobby with the state government and eventually the national government in order to limit the share of large vehicles on our roadways through things like increased registration fees and the necessity of a higher class license for being able to operate them. In the area of vehicle speed limitations, enforcement is key in this. Mayor Kafusi noted that this is a common sight on Provo's roads, specifically along Center Street. The average speed before the raised crosswalks were installed was found to be 35 miles per hour, more than double the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. When cars are going this fast, enforcement comes to mind as an obvious method for influencing cars to drive slower and therefore act more safely. Studies have found that cities and states that have stricter speed and DUI enforcement see markedly fewer pedestrian fatalities. As enforcement also creates new revenue streams for the city, and while simultaneously promoting pedestrian safety, we recommend that the city explore options for more strictly enforcing the traffic laws that are already on the books.
Lastly, education is another essential strategy to teach to all road users, including drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, their roles and responsibilities in reducing traffic injuries. Drivers specifically have a higher level of responsibility as operators of heavy, potentially deadly vehicles, and must be held accountable for taking their responsibility more seriously. Education helps communicate the duty to be more focused and aware of pedestrians and other road users while driving, and the potential risks of operating a motor vehicle. Therefore, we suggest the introduction of an educational campaign for all road users in Provo. For instance, the Provo city government could team up with institutions such as BYU and other nonprofits to promote a pedestrian awareness campaign. And as we can see in the figure above, we have a comparison of a before and after study that was made in a small university in Florida, and it shows the difference of the level of awareness of different road users. This figure on the right side shows an increase in awareness of the laws and behaviors related to the pedestrian safety. As a result, the campaign helped improve the perception of a safer pedestrian and bicyclist environment around the university.
In conclusion, addressing pedestrian safety and mitigating the alarming amount of pedestrian deaths in Provo demands a multifaceted approach. We've recommended a more widespread implementation of traffic calming and stricter legislation measures that create these safer pedestrian zones. Overall, the successful implementation of these recommendations is contingent on the collaboration between government bodies, urban planners, law enforcement, and us as the community. Provo has a lot of potential and is already making some great improvements. We hope that these recommendations can be introduced to make Provo a safer and enjoyable space for all.